You want Philly, Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's easy to sum it up. We're talking about practice.
Because it's about as casual as it gets.
What's the problem now?
That's a clown question, bro.
I think we understand the game at least.
Start playing with some jam here. Let's go.
Philadelphia. Look at his old video get run.
Here we go.
And good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Perugini. This is another edition of the Philly podcast. My co-host Chris Lahiff is here. Pat Houseman is here. And we have with us again another, as always, a very special guest and friend of the show, Frankie James from FlyersNittyGritty.com. Tonight's episode is a personal one, as we're touching on the Ben Simmons issue with the Philadelphia 76ers and the mental health aspect of sports and mental health in general. And our guest, Frank James, is a person who deals and suffers from some mental health.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to say it.
Okay. I don't understand. I don't mean to cut off, but I totally understand the wording. It's all good. I suffer from a mental illness. Also a big mental health advocate, which I'll get into. Eric, it's all good. I love your nervousness though, dude. I've known you like so long, bro.
It's a touchy subject.
It's a wedding day over here, brother.
Yeah. And also our co-host Pat Houseman also does suffer from some mental illness. So this episode is basically like Chris and I have no idea what these gentlemen and people that's in the same boat as them go through on a day in and day out basis. So we asked them to share their personal experiences and what their day-to-day routine is or how they feel every day, what, certain things that may, make them feel a certain way or not. So with that, gentlemen, I'm going to give you guys the floor and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. I feel like I'm like one of the well, I am obviously family. It's great to see obviously you, Chris, Ernie. Cheese fry, welcome back. Don't forget anything about that. I got a cheese tot tonight for you, buddy. This is something that I have been wanting to do for a really long time, and we get to touch a little bit about the Ben Simmons thing because we obviously know a little bit about him not wanting to be here. And then obviously now mental health comes into play because of what he had said. Now, regardless of like if he suffers from it or if he doesn't, that's yet to be determined. But the fact that it's mentioned, and obviously we all agree, it's good to bring some awareness to it about what he really could be going through. And the fans here are going to, and the viewers of me and everybody else watching are going to really learn a lot about what it is like to deal with it. And real quick, guys, by all means, anybody that's watching, I will be going into some deep things about some of the things I've been through. I'm very open about it. So viewer beware, you're in for a scare. A little Goosebumps plug for us. Spooky season. But yeah, guys, I love you. I love yous for all having me here. And cheese fry, keep being cheesy, my man.
I guess this is me. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with sharing, and I it's good to have a discussion. Like I said, this is a topic that hits home for me. Yeah, I'm very open with it on my own Facebook page, and I feel like I need to be because there are a lot of people out there that are suffering and they don't want to reach out and let people know what's going on because there is a stigma and taboo behind this subject. So I try to make it a little bit more public, make my struggle a little bit more public because it's a lot easier for people to put a face to everything, let them know they're not going through this by themselves. So that's why I try to do it. And I get messages from people a lot that are going through issues, people I would never have thought were going through issues, and saying, well, what did you do? How do I get through this? So, I mean, that's another reason why I do what I do. So, Frank, I'll let you talk about, what you go through on a daily basis, and then, I'll take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys got your guys something to drink and everybody use the bathroom if you need to take two, because we're about to go. Listen, like I said last night on the Frank the Tank Show, plug at the Frank the Tank Show, preheat your ovens for 350 because it's cupcake time, guys. If you guys don't mind, I'm actually gonna. Are you guys on Twitter? Are you guys live on Twitter too, guys? All right, I just want to make sure I want everybody to really. It's really important to me, so you know how I feel about this. I want to make sure we get it out.
I'm pretty sure I just tagged you on Twitter.
Oh, good. You should have. So yeah. I've been suffering from mental illness since I was 10. I'm 32 now. I've been in and out of therapy since I was 10. When people suffer from mental illness, it comes with a lot of other things: anxiety, depression, the crawling out of your skin feeling. And Pat, you know what that feeling is like. Not wanting to live anymore. Just the things along those sort, and all that in the one is what the definition to me is of suffering from mental illness. The times where you don't want to get out of bed for days, and I still suffer from that. Every day the routine of opening up the pill bottle and getting ready to take the old variety back down. I've been on medication for my anxiety, depression, well, more or less depression more recently, because everything that I went through the past year, this year, and I'll definitely be going in a little bit about that. It's very, very serious, and it's something that is not talked about enough. And suicide prevention, obviously, is something big. They're hand in hand, sadly. It's something that's not talked about enough. It's like, gun violence. There were people it's so natural, like, who cares if the person did it? Well, there is mental illness where, and I'm going to confine the two too much because that's like a whole other topic. But people do go through things, and we'll eventually get to the Ben Simmons aspect of it. But living with it, God, it's a struggle. Some people don't believe in medicine. People believe in things like CBD, like body check wellness. Todd Herman's and Riley Cote, they microdose, and that's their way, more or less, of dealing with a lot of that because it's very difficult to live with. It takes a toll physically, and the mental aspect of it can be 100% exhausting. So the everyday life of it, there's good days and bad days, just like anybody else normally. But when the good days are good, they're usually good to a point of when it gets bad, and when the switch is flipped, Pat, you know what I mean. It can be really tough to come back from where it's like the covers are over your head, or you just don't have any will or want to do anything. So the end of most of the everyday life of it, it's very difficult. It can be very difficult at times. What can I say about that part of it? But I'll go into more things about why the events that led me to be diagnosed with mental illness. After, of course, Pat, we'd like to talk about your everyday.
Well, we just saw something in Philadelphia with Lane Johnson, and the rumor was that he was going through bouts of mental illness, and I look at a guy like that, and a lot of people were commenting on Facebook saying, "Well, he's a millionaire. I don't understand why he feels this way. He has enough money to make himself happy." I see a guy who, he's 6'6", he's 330 pounds. He's used to just punching his way out of any kind of problem that he has. This is a villain, or an adversary doesn't have a face, that you can't just punch your way out of problems. I see a guy who's just ill-equipped to be able to handle an opponent like that, and he just broke down, and it's a shame. And I totally believe that he, when I read the report and just knowing from what I've seen about that guy, I just knew that this was something that has been probably killing this guy for a long time. And the reason why he went back to Oklahoma was because he went back to be with the people that he felt safest around, the people that were going to look out for his best interests. If you don't have like a safety net like that, or you don't have a wife or parents or kids to run to that to help you in them times, it's hard. I don't know how people without all those anchors can really help you, or could get through that. I don't understand, because with me, my parents, my wife, my friends, my kids, they were what saved me. So people that aren't going through that or don't have those kind of things, it's got to be so much more of a difficult process. Like what you said, Frank, when things were bad, and I didn't get on medication until I was 33 years old or 34 years old. And my issues started when I hit puberty. So I went a long time without medication, ups and downs, and just highs and lows, and it's hard. Like, and there'd be days where I wouldn't want to get out of bed, but then when I didn't get out of bed, I'd sit there and stress about, well, I'm getting behind at work or I'm getting behind here. So it's a constant push-pull. Like, you want to stay in bed because you don't feel well, and that's the only thing that's comforting. But then at the same time, too, like the whole time you're there, you're stressed out about what you're missing, and you feel guilty because you're missing this, or you're letting the people that you work with down, and it's just difficult. Like I said, it's an opponent that no matter what you do, it's never going to go away either.
Yeah.
I mean, I take medication. That's the only thing that keeps it at bay. But the second I go off medication, it'll be right back. It's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And the other thing about medication too, and I went to therapy. Therapy didn't help me. I think it made me feel worse because I talked about more of the problems. That made me feel more guilty. But being on medication, it's not a one size fits all. I mean, you have strep throat, they go and they give you moxicillin or penicillin, and you're fine. With this, it's not like that. They could give you,
they're testing you. I'm going to cut you off, but now this is like discussion. They're testing you with different things, and one thing could just make you go create Wellbutrin. I started on Wellbutrin, the antidepressant, and I was having nightmares. Sorry.
I had something too. I mean, I went to a doctor, and I was having nightmares. I was having like heart palpitations. No, it's okay. I was having heart palpitations. There's a lot of like really weird side effects, and I told my doctor, and they said, "Oh, well, that's not an issue." But then when you look online, these were all side effects. I'm like, well, get me off of this or I'm going to another doctor. And she kept prescribing. I was like, no, I'm done. So went to another doctor, switched doctors, and, they got me on Zoloft. I'm on 50 milligrams of Zoloft a day. And that's what gets me through, the wear and tear of every day. Without it, I probably wouldn't be here. The stress would have just killed me. That's reality. And that's what's worked for me, but it was like a practice. They call, a medical, a medical office, a practice, that's what they were doing. They were practicing on us to find out what works for us, because it's not one size fits all. And that's something. And the other thing too, is it takes about 2 weeks for it to get in your system. So you're feeling really bad. You're at your rock bottom and you go get the medicine and they say, oh, by the way, you won't feel anything for 2 weeks. And that's if you feel something. So yes. So that's the other frustrating aspect of it, is that you don't get that instant gratification. It's a process. And when you're at rock bottom, you don't want to go through a process. You want something now. So it's really difficult. I chose not to go the route of, when I have an anxiety attack, taking something that, almost like a sedative. They got me on a beta blocker. They said that, that kind of gets rid of the flight or flight instinct that you feel with anxiety. Works great for me. So I'm on that, but that's my daily life. Without medication, I really don't think I'd be here. Stress would have killed me. It literally would have killed me. And I think a lot of my health issues that I have now as a 38-year-old is because of all those years that I went through, just letting stress build up. It wore my insides out, and it's a shame. I'm 38, and I feel like I'm, inside. I feel like I'm in my 50s.
All right, so I know I said I wasn't going to interrupt.
No, talk.
But I put up a couple comments, and
I saw.
I don't know if you guys want me to put them back up. If you guys want to respond to them, because like I said, I don't know.
No,
what
it's cool. That's fine. I have no problem with it.
You guys see these comments, and maybe if there's something that you guys,
we want to bring awareness too. We also want to help. So anybody that brings something up, like Gab is a good friend of mine. I'm glad she's joined the show because she also suffers. My good friend Sarah, another really good friend of mine, also has suffered. So they're tuning in because I told them, and I'm glad they're tuning in. I am really happy about that. So any kind of question or anything wants to bring up, then go right ahead. If not, then we'll keep continuing. So get right ahead, Chris. If there's any questions, do you have any questions or no? Oh, we were just talking about like more or less like putting up comments.
Yeah, the comments. I mean, I'm gonna put every comment up because I don't want you, because I want you guys to see.
Yeah, there's a question that pops up.
What the outlook is, what people think.
Yeah, there's a question that pops up. We'll take it. We'll switch off. But I want to go back to what you were just saying. That question right there, because obviously that's the thing. No, it hasn't been diagnosed, which honestly, with all due respect, which is why me and Cheese Fry are doing a lot of the talking, because we have been, and we're protecting everybody, part of the network, part of the show. We kind of have the right to. No disrespect, boys. I love this. But I want to touch on something that you had mentioned, kind of about the help that you had with your family and the support system that you had, because I'm the opposite. So now we're going a little bit more deeper stuff. I don't really have. I have obviously my family, and a good family at that. But I'm about to get really deep here. One of my parents was never really able to deal with a crying child, so to speak. Love that person, but it was always like kind of like a get your crap together kind of thing. Or I was threatened to be 302'd when I had a problem, and I was probably about 15. So when I don't have that person, who do I have? My biological father had abandoned me. I have my stepfather, who I love dearly, but he was a bastard growing up. He was a bad alcoholic. So there was no guidance where I come from. There was nobody really with any mental health issues but me, and I think that had developed because of what I've been through. And I'll go into a lot of that. Where did it come from? Which will kind of be like on the next segment, so to speak, brother. Like where did it come from? How did Chris, you already know that, babe. That's my sister Kristen. Kristen understands too. She's been through a lot. Well, you already know Kristen. So a lot of the things that had happened, and like I said, Kristen understands too. I didn't have that person. I had therapy, and it was in and out of therapy because I was in and out of living with different parents, and there was no guidance growing up. It was a free for all. So I was on my own. I was by myself. My high school guidance counselor, 15 years old, I had my first suicide attempt. And I had tried to, I thought that my life was better if I wasn't here. And the thoughts of, would anybody even miss me if I was gone? Those are a lot of the thoughts that I have when I come close to doing that is, would anybody even miss me? Because I don't feel as if, and because of the actions in the family that I have, I feel as if I don't make them proud and I at all. And it's really tough because I thrive off of recognition, words of encouragement, appreciation, and I've never gotten that from anybody. And then I have my biological father who had abandoned me and my older sister, so I get that. And then he leaves, and he left when I was 3 years ago. I was a grown adult, and he was in that the hard work's over. I wiped my own ass. It was just having a relationship, and he didn't want that. And I'll never ever talk to him ever again, or never know why. Me and my sister had to give each other, Nina, had to give each other closure on the situation that we had no answers on, and we will never get those answers. I still cry a lot from it because I will never know. There's parts of people in my family that I don't necessarily can talk to about it because of the reasons why I mentioned. Kristen, who popped up, I can talk to her, and my older sister Nina and my family is who I can talk to. They are the only ones. They are the only ones that I can actually talk to. And there for a while, I didn't talk to anybody. Just this past year, this has been probably the worst year of my life. Really recently too. I left New Jersey. I separated from my ex. I gave her the house. The start over process. I mean, the start over process is always like, wow, what do I do? Like I just had everything, and my stepfather with his diagnosis, and then my dad leaving. This was all within like 3 weeks, dude. This was all within 3 weeks. And I left where I was living in my house, and I was staying with a friend in Jersey, and my job was starting to suffer. I couldn't focus. I shut down. I'm a talker, and I didn't tell anybody anything that was going on, what I was going through, which is why another reason why we're doing this, because to spread awareness, because it's so real. I had shut down and I stopped talking, and I was here in Philadelphia, right in this spot right now. And I went back to Jersey the day of my birthday, and I had a suicide attempt on my birthday just this past April 30th, and I got better. I went back to therapy, and I mean I feel good. Obviously, I'm emotional right now, but it's real. It's a struggle. Like I said, I feel good, and that's why it's so important to talk about things when you are, and the importance of it. Like I do. So I volunteer for a 24/7 suicide hotline. I've been doing it for about a year because I've been through so much, and the want the people to not go through it and to listen to people is so important. That's why I share everything. That's why I'm so open about it. And we're talking, it's October, just a few months ago, and I haven't talked too much about what happened. I won't get into that because I never really told any. I don't know if I've told anybody. maybe 1 or 2 people. But going back to like the initial thing, I kind of was always on my own with it, and then eventually I came back to home. I came back to Philly. I had to leave everything in Jersey, and I came back to be with my dad, my stepdad, who's re-diagnosed, and Chris knows 20 years. He's actually going in for surgery tomorrow. Because it's the chemo and the radiation like totally tore his mouth up. So he's having the 20-hour surgery tomorrow, and that's why I'm actually with my parents now. They're gonna like take apart his fibula and rebuild his whole entire jaw. It's like an 18-hour surgery, probably 9-month recovery, and that's why I'm here to kind of be with him. So like this is real. This is raw emotion. This is like the stuff that we deal with a lot. So yeah. Like I said, guys, I'm going to say it again. This means so much to me to even be able to talk about this stuff because I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I knew I was going to get like this, but it's been a really crazy year for me. I'm actually in the process of like taking a leave of absence from work because I haven't dealt with any of the stuff that I went through. I just pass on, and it's crazy because Cheese Fry, Ernie, Chris, like a lot of people see me as Frankie the journalist from the Flyers and the podcast and all that good stuff and everything about it. And but inside it's like, dude, I just tried to kill myself because I thought that my life was better if I wasn't here. And would anybody even miss me or no? And those are the effects of mental illness when you get down like that. Like I can go from doing what we do, laughing and joking on the last show, to raw emotion like this. And one, it's a beautiful thing to be able to do both and be able to talk about both. But it's also something that we deal with all the time. Pass it on. Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep going. But okay.
So real quick, obviously, you hit some talking points. Now, do you feel? I mean, obviously, the story's coming out in Chicago with everything's coming on. Like, do you feel any way like what John Doe is feeling? I forget his name.
I just actually touched on him. Yeah, cheers, guys.
So like for like someone who suffers from mental illness or mental health. Like I said, I don't know the terminology for it.
No,
so if I'm disrespectful, I apologize.
Mental illness, if like mental health is that aspect of it. Like we're doing a charity for mental health or mental illness. It's kind of similar. It's like the way you're directing it. Like Frankie doesn't suffer from mental health. Frankie suffers from mental illness.
So when you see stories like
hold on a second, Chris, you can't necessarily just say fake. I mean, you have your opinion, but there hasn't been a diagnosis. So try and treat it as a little sensitivity. And we will talk about Ben. Like we just want to get more awareness, but we will dive into it. All right, bud.
So my question is like, no, it's fine. You see the stories with what happened in the Blackhawks. As a person who suffers from mental illness, how does that make you feel? Like now that you know the whole story, what the Blackhawks did, and the fact that the NHL had to send out a memo to the entire NHL and say, "Don't be pieces of shit." I don't understand. We're in 2021 when stuff like that comes up, and now you have this kid who, again, I'm not going to diagnose him, but you would assume that he's probably suffering
feeling effects.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could say I'm feeling the effects of mental illness without saying I have mental illness. I have is a diagnosis. I'm feeling the effects is depression. You know what I'm saying? You pick up one, but yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, some people are born with it. So like my issue is I got an issue with serotonin. So that's what I take an SSRI, which is serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's brain chemistry with me. So
It's chemically.
Yeah. So it's chemical. So that's what I could have all the great things in life and have everything given to me. And if I wasn't on medication, I'd still, be suffering from this. It has nothing to do with it. And then there's also people that, very bad experience, like a post-traumatic, something that would induce post-traumatic stress on a person, that they would go through and feel some effects of mental illness while dealing with that issue. And that's probably what this guy's going through. He wasn't born probably with this. It's just something that, he happened upon because of something bad that happened in his life that's triggered this problem. Two things when I was listening to Franco, in a situation with people that have that issues like him and I have, just simple things like change is really hard. He had a really tough year. A lot of things changed in his life. Change is not good for people with mental illness. I every single day I try to game plan what I'm going to do and how I'm going to get through this day. And it's just moving chess pieces on the board.
Time management can become everything because
Yes.
the sense of loneliness can now trigger why you're alone.
Right.
Whether you are or not, just your brain starts to go and you get lost in your thoughts. They say I'm lost in my thoughts or I'm in my head. That's kind of like the foundation of starting to go elsewhere, which is why staying so busy is important, which is crazy because I am up usually all night long. Chris. Now you know me. But productivity is really big with me. And productivity in the way of helping other people, whether it be about talking about anything, suicide, or setting up an event, or Chris, Ernie, I got this good interview for you. And they're like, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Do you know why? Because I've always looked for acknowledgement and I've always looked for praise. And that's where it stems from for me. And being able to find the foundation of where it comes from is the hardest thing, dude. It's the hardest thing. And I've been able to find it. It comes from like not really getting any kind of encouragement. I just saw you text that out. That is big. That should have happened immediately. And I think that's great. And you know what? John T's great. And you know what? I think that's something that should be done about Taze. I think that's something that should be done about Patrick Kane. Listen, you can't either no comment it then. I respected no comment more than just saying, like whether it's not a big deal or whatever the fuck they said. Sorry for the cursing. But you can't. I'm sorry, bro. You can't justify anything about this. You can't justify about anything about the Olympics. I mean, the gymnastics back then at Penn State, and I am a Penn State guy. Okay, we were just talking about this, Chris. It's very similar. You can't. It's not okay. This is not okay at all because what you're doing is obviously illegal and it's a big problem. But it now comes the mental health aspect and the mental illness aspect of it, which now opens up a whole other world that people, I just feel down today. No, you've been feeling down for 6 months. Something is wrong. And the next thing you know, there you go. I'll tell you a short story. I had somebody when I would do the hotline. So I cut back on the hotline when the Flyers start. Priorities, I guess. But I had to substitute one because it's just too much. I had somebody that would call. It's about 7 months that I had this person. Great talks. He would reach out to me personally. I through what I go through. I'll use my phone, but go through what I go through. 7 months I had him, and I lost him about 2 months ago. 3 months ago. He didn't make it, sadly. You can't. Now, doing what I do and being such an advocate, the minute you say, what can I have done? And you know what I mean? She's fine. Like, what could I have done to help? Is when now you settle in guilt and you can't accept it, and it's really difficult not to but you have to trust. First of all, people that get involved in the hotline work, you obviously have a sense of confidence in you. You three gentlemen know me well enough. You obviously know me well enough to know that I'm a confident person in most of the things that I do, whether it be sports, journalism, talking to people as a friend. Eric, you know exactly what I mean. I've had good conversations with you when you were going through the loss of your father. Chris, I probably told you to shut up a bunch of times, but I still love you. But you've listened to me talk, so I appreciate that. Pat, you and I are obviously getting more close, and we found out that we have one of the greatest connections in the world, that we're both nuts. But truth be told, but we can say that, so let us go.
Yes.
But the truth be told, you do everything you can. You go with confidence, and I've had some deep conversations. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, really. And you can't think about it and like have that sit on you, like the guilt aspect of it for other people, because some people just, it's not what it's their purpose, but It goes deeper than even what I've been through. And I didn't even go into like everything. I mean, I just went through more recent stuff within a short period of time. And the things I've been through happened in people's lifetime. Maybe not even mine happened in 4 months. 4 months of my life, I went through all that, which is intense. It's really intense. But yeah, I kind of like kept going somewhere else. But yeah, I'll just move it on to Chris if you want to. Oh yeah, but Joe Q should not be in the NHL. He should never coach again. I think he's up in there in the fame with Gruden, who's another jerk. All those guys, like, there's just no business for it being in here. I just don't understand how do you? I can't even put the words in. I always have something to say. Where you think it's okay, and then the people that are witnessing it and like hush hush. What, to win a championship? To win a game? It's more than a game. It becomes that is a diagnosis of a psychopath. Dawn Hartman. I have a great story about her. God, Dawn, I love you dearly. I'm gonna just jump in a big story about Dawn. I know Dawn from my first law job. Dawn, obviously I can talk about my little nephew. Dawn was having trouble having a baby. And her husband, Jack, Big Jack, I love you, had very difficult time having a baby. And I had reached out, and we were working together. We became good friends. I'm like, have you ever through a benefit? And because she was getting the somebody help me out. What is it? What is it? The process to have a baby? That's like you pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah, is that it? I don't know, bro. Somebody jump in and tell me.
In vitro fertilization, yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes.
Yeah, help me out, dude. Sound like an idiot over here. And she had very difficulty, so I was like, let me do something for you. I was still bartending at the Sheffield, Ernie, and I threw Dawn a benefit at the Sheffield, and we raised all the money. And Dawn now has, thank you, Dawn. Dawn now has a son. We raised the money, and she now has a son. Dawn, how old is little man now? And that was amazing. We raised the money for her. And she now has a child, and I was I wasn't I feel responsible, but I was able to help with that, and that was one of the amazing thing I did. I'm so happy that she jumped on. But yeah, great story about Dawn. I'm glad that she's here. All right, here we go.
I mean, the other issue too, I think that touching on mental illness, like I said, my personal struggle, it started around puberty, so I guess around 12 or 13. And I lived most of my adult life until I lived a good 20 years like that. Part of the problem was that you can't get into somebody else's head and know what they're thinking. You're in your head. And to me, I lived that life for so long, and I went through the change from becoming a boy to a man, and these were all the feelings I had. I just thought it was normal. I thought it was normal to get angry about things. I thought it was normal to blow up about, dumb stuff and have these mood swings and not want to get. I just thought that everybody had this emotion. And when I hit rock bottom, I came to find out that, that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And my father has depression too, and is on very similar medication. What we have is hereditary. And, he'd been seeking treatment for a few years, and he told me, you need to get help. You really, it's to the point now where you really need to get help because you're not going to survive this without it. And that's the thing. And there's other people walking around like that just think that the way they're living their life is normal, and they're not happy, and they're moody, and they're making life hard for the people around them, and they don't realize it. And they don't realize that things can get better. You don't have to live that way. Quality of life is so much better once you see and acknowledge what is going on here, that it's not normal, and that you can move past it. You can get better if you're willing to put up the fight for it. Yeah. And you have to fight for it, and that's the thing. And my quality of life over the last 4 years has been the best in my adult life. It's been the best. I finally know what it feels like to be able to relax and not stress about things. I went for 20 years where I even if I was sitting watching a football game, I couldn't relax. I was stressed about something. Something was going through my head. My thoughts were racing. I just couldn't stop. Couldn't sleep. Be up reading all night. It was such a piss poor way to live. And you don't realize how much a good quality of life will do for you. How much a good night's sleep will do for you. How much being stress free will do for you. And I encourage other people, if you feel that way, if you're perpetually angry and the people around you are saying, you have these mood swings. Like there's something you probably should take their what they're saying seriously, not get offended by it. I know it's tough because you're going through life, you're dealing with a lot of stuff, and you're really stressed out. And when somebody comes and says, "Oh, there's something wrong with you," it's really easy to take that the wrong way.
It's really easy to deny the help too. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
right. And especially in the time that we live too. I mean, you're feeling bad about yourself. You're on Facebook. You see all these nice pictures of people being away, this, that. You think everybody's so happy, but you. And that kind of adds to it too. There's the opposite of it. You think, I think some people think everybody's just as angry as they are. Other people think that everybody's just perpetually happy. The truth is somewhere in between. And you just got to kind of recognize that, not let stuff like that bother you. And like I said, if you are somebody that's perpetually angry, or somebody says, hey, you might want to get help, if you trust that person, you probably should listen to them. They're not trying to hurt your feelings; they're trying to help you. And just throw you a lifeline. In today's world, I feel like a lot of people they get thrown lifelines a lot. They just don't take it. And there's nothing wrong with taking that.
It's a great point. It's a great point you mentioned. I love the fact that you brought the word trust, because I go back to Hotline, they have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
And I have no idea who they are. And they have come to the point where they have to trust me. Not have to, but they are putting their trust in me. And it's important. I did a seminar one time about this, and I brought it up, and it was about trust, actually, and I had mentioned this, a little bit about what I do, and the room had grew. People were very interested in it. But people, like you said, people walking around everyday life, looking at like us. And by the way, I'm so glad that you're doing good 4 years for you, my brother. I really am, because it's crazy to learn each other's stories, because hearing where you are and dealing with it, and where I am dealing with it, sadly, it's opposite. Because I deal with it on days. I still have days where I don't. My self-worth is very low. And it sucks, because I'm looking at I look at people, and people are thinking dude, like we said, you just never know what that person's going through. But some people look at me as a journalist and all that stuff, but I have those days where I want to crawl out of my skin, and like I mentioned, that feeling, dude, you know what that feeling's like. I don't think there's any feeling like that. When I first came back home from Jersey, and I went through everything, and I first walked through that door, closed the door, and I sat down, and I was just ugh. Everything I had went through was in Jersey. Obviously, not came to that, by the motions, but now I could have started the process, and trust the process. Little pictures take for you. I see that you're watching behind you. And I could have started what I needed to do. Obviously, I'm still going through up and down, and I still have ups and downs. You can technically look at me like an addict trying to get help still. You're 4 years clean, and I'm still an addict trying to get help, but trying to do the best that I can. Not with full-blown on relapses where I try to attempt suicide, but days where I am very down, distant, communication isn't there. And the things that really help me are helping other people. One, because I do love to help other people. Everybody kind of here knows that. I'd do anything for anybody, and that's the way I am as a person. But also because that recognition, because I want people to be proud of me, because I've never had that, and I've never been told that from anyone in my family before. And that's the truth. Which I'm not asking you guys to do it. I know you're proud of me. I love you dearly. You already know that. But not hearing that from your own fam, it goes back to where the difference with us is I didn't have that. And which is why I'm so glad that we're doing this, because everybody's really getting two different stories, two great stories, two great tales. But really the difference in what it's like on the recovery and healing, and also the road to some days I wake up. It's so important to know the help and even if you're just hey, I called Ernie so many times with everything about checking us out, and I always said, let me know if you ever want to talk. Let me know if you need any help with anything. He didn't, and he didn't need, and it's okay if he didn't need to. Eric, I was just saying, all the times I called you and said, if you need anything, call me. If you ever need to talk, call me. He didn't, and he didn't have to, and that's okay. But you put it out there. It's the letting the ear, because one day if it was late at night and he needed to, and he did, I would have answered, and we would have taken the process and the steps that we needed to. That's why it's so important. I do a lot of charity work for NAMI, National Alliance Against Mental Illness. When she's fine, me and you we're gonna do something real nice, brother. And I want to do a collab with the Frank the Tank Show, and I want to do a collab with Philly Podcast, and I think we're gonna do something real good, and we're gonna do a nice big charity event. We'll talk about that soon. Just the importance of knowing about it now. Obviously, I think we give a lot of information. I'll give you like your take on it, but maybe we'll talk a little bit about this Ben Simmons thing. We're gonna start crying again. Dawn, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you. I love you.
All right, so
here, all right, guys, come on.
So obviously we have varying opinions on the Ben Simmons situation.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it was our last show. Me and Eric kind of got into it, and it was fun.
But it was here for that. That's the building of their cheese fry.
Right, and you know what? It was nothing about the mental. All right, I'm sure he'll be back. It was nothing about the mental issues. It was about the booing and does he deserve to be booed? I mean, I think he does. My opinion is I don't boo my players, whatever. But now you have everybody, and I can't stand him. Yeah. Talking about
Eric.
So now you have all these opinions. We have everybody from YouTube. A couple debates going on. Is he faking? Is he this? And, there's a lot more people who think he's faking, which is kind of disrespectful on both ends because, Lane Johnson got the sympathy. The chick in the Olympics did not get the sympathy when she had a mental breakdown. Like we need, whether he's faking or not, we as a society, just like B-Rad said, we need to take this for real. Well, other than
he's kind of saying another way.
Yeah, he's going the other way, but I'm going for the first way. He's got to go and get the help and find out if he really has the mental health issues.
Yeah.
Listen, we all know the stuff that Ben Simmons went through last year with his sister and everything, coming out and saying everything that happened to him as a kid, with his brother who was his shooting coach who should be fired anyway. like it's stuff like that it's going, and in my opinion, it would take a toll on me, and I don't suffer from it. So, he's got all this pressure to perform, especially in Philadelphia. We all know how that is. And now he's got to deal with his sister and the issues that she's bringing to the table, which could very well be, the right issues. So I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, and I want you to explain to the people who don't understand, who think Ben Simmons is faking. I want you to explain to them and to me and Eric what you think he is going through and where his mind is at.
All right. Before one of you guys answer,
yeah.
I want to do a live read commercial real fast because I don't want to edit any of this tomorrow. I just want to put it right up on
raw motion, brother. Get right ahead.
Right. So, real quick. All right. This episode is coming to you partly by Monkey's Uncle. Monkey's Uncle is a retro vintage inspired T-shirt boutique that's more than just a store. It's family owned and locally operated in Doylestown, Pennsylvania since 2010. It's a unique experience all to itself that takes you down memory lane, where I know you're sure to find something that will make you nostalgic for the back in the day. From babies to babes, dudes to dads, it's the most fun your closet will ever have. Visit them at themonkeysuncle.net today and check out their inventory of cool, hip hop culture vintage apparel, from t-shirts to coffee mugs, and they even have awesome masks that keep you and others safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's themonkeysuncle.net, or call at 267-247-5865. That's 267-247-5865. Don't forget themonkeysuncle.net.
All right, so real quick, I just want
to
let
Gabriel. We have to talk.
I just want to say, I'm not saying he's faking. I'm just saying there's people who think he is.
Gabs is saying. I think she's referring to the person that we have on that's really kind of going off a little bit. I actually, Cheese Fry, if you don't mind, I think that we should actually kind of take before we get into the Big Ben thing. I want the comments. Somebody really seems to be I don't know what it is, but we can touch. We're going to touch about Ben Simmons. Anything right off the bat. I'll say this for the statement, which most of us probably agree on. In the sports world, in the aspect of sports, this is how I feel about it. Ben Simmons initially said he does not want to be here. And I'm giving the journalism side of things. All right, I'm around players, professional athletes, and I talk to them. I know them. Ben Simmons had said he does not want to be here. He abandoned his team. He came back, which looked like due to the fact that he was losing money. Now, yes, Monkey Uncle is the bomb. Derek Gray talking. Came back on the fact that he was losing money. Comes back, shows no emotion around his team, shows no dedication to the huddle. Doesn't look like he's holding himself accountable for abandoning the team. And abandonment is something that I have dealt with, which I take very personal. And then comes out and says that there's some kind of health issue and that he is not mentally fit to play. The naked eye would say exactly what the gentleman. I'm sure you can pull up one of his comments, Chris. That it's all BS. They won't blame mental health. He had no issues when he was. Now him saying he had no issues. Now you don't know that, so your comment is irrelevant. I think that was a little extreme. Unless you are someone of me and Cheese Fry, by all means, I appreciate you and hope you're doing well. But you can't. And so have I. I was a teacher for 6 years, and I worked with special needs. So keep it coming, dude. Get to go on Frank the Tank show. We can talk. Now, the mental health aspect, when those words are said, there's protocol. With a job, with anything, because my job is aware of what I go through, and now there's a protocol. I believe that he will have to go into he is going to be evaluated. Obviously, there's refusal, but he will be evaluated. And it goes back to the aspect of me and you. People see flyers, journalism, happiness, articles, Bleacher Report, all the good friends, all that. Ben Simmons, basketball player, point guard, Sixers, Philly, money, everything. Money is the root of all evil. Money will call. Look at some of the stars that we lost to all that, to suicide, and everybody. Chris Ronaldo, one of the best. It's the money doesn't do anything. So when he says until his money was taken, money, if anything, could have made it worse, and that's what he's not understanding. If anything, sad to say though that he's actually very uneducated for being a teacher on this topic. With all due respect, by the way, he's very uneducated on this topic. I'm not taking it too personal, and I'm speaking with respect, but it's very true because I am very educated because I'm a counselor and I know what I'm talking about. But money can actually make this worse. Look at some of the people that we've lost. I'm not sympathy. You're an idiot, dude, flat out. So we don't know really what he has been diagnosed with. It doesn't look like there is a diagnosis. On the sports level of it all, trade him. Not good for the team. He abandoned the team. It's not good for him. I don't know if they can get somebody in here to win a championship because you're going to have to draft because there's no leverage. There's no leverage with Ben Simmons to trade. Now I'm talking as a journalist, guys. You guys all know that. I still would trade him. Chris, I'll get your take on that too. I would still move on from, as the sports journalist that I am, I would still move on from abandonment. And we talked about this last time. Yeah, I want to know your take. I'll choose fine about it. Where you stand as the writer part of it or the journalist of it.
Speaking from my own experience, when you talk about your issues with people, in my own experience, both being on the receiving end and reaching out, I think it's easier to talk to somebody that you're not as close with. I think, when I've had issues, when I've reached out to people, I reached out to one of my best friend's older brothers because he's somebody who suffered from mental illness, and he told me that before. And his name's Mike. I reached out to him, and he helped me through it. And one of the things that helped me be able to talk to him and open up with him is he's not somebody I see every day. He's not somebody I see socially a whole lot. So, it's somebody I trusted. Now, I wouldn't have went into all this stuff, but, he's not somebody I see every day. I think once you kind of put these things out there, I think it's hard to come back to the situation will be normal. So in his situation, he needs a fresh start. Mental illness was what caused this rift in the first place. Nothing's going to do him any better than getting a fresh start someplace else where he can just kind of turn a page and move on. I think that's going to be the best thing for him. I like to believe. Yeah, I like to believe that what he's saying is genuine. I think once somebody kind of hits that button and says, this is a mental illness thing, I think you have to kind of wait and see. I hope to God that neither him nor anybody else would ever use that as an excuse to try to get over on somebody or get his money or get, I like to think that people are better than that at this point. So, that's just my take on the whole thing. I hope that he's better than trying to pull that card, because that's just so totally wrong if that's the end game here.
Yeah.
And to the guy who, doesn't seem to really understand this,
and he's not understanding. He's not obviously talking about me. He's not understanding what I'm saying. You're being a hypocrite. I said you were uneducated about the topic. You were uneducated about mental illness. That is what I said. So you forgot a few words there. Where is the empathy? Well, I can ask you the same thing, pal. Because where's yours?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, like, I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face on the topic. You're not going to learn anything.
Yeah, we're going to go back and forth. He's just going to.
Yeah. I mean, you should have came to this thing with a little bit more of an open mind. You would have understood it a little bit better.
Have to be. You have to, and anybody would. And I'll touch on it. One other. What are we doing? I haven't. Let's say anything wrong. So relax. The fact that we were having this talk means I am not far off. Well, yeah, you're not far off because you're not talking about the topic. You're talking about Ben Simmons and money. You're not necessarily talking about anything else but the sports aspect of it, which is good. You have knowledge in sports, and I'm happy about that. Come on my show, and I love the debate. I mean, ask these guys. I'm a debater, master debater. So it goes back even with Nolan Patrick. Nolan Patrick needed a fresh start too. Carson Wentz needed a fresh start. It got into a point where NP, and I played hockey 18 years. I played it a long time, and I was out 2 years because of a concussion. There was obviously something not fucking right up there. That's also another real thing. That is real. Concussion syndrome is real. It's not. It's that also is a part of it. I mean, look at Touchy, Aaron Hernandez. Now, he was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome. Now, saying it was okay what he did because he killed somebody, he'd go to jail. But he wasn't right. He was not right. And that is actually a proven medical fact. And
he had more CTE on his brain than any brain ever.
Unreal. And I'm sure there are people that will have an issue with that. Oh, no, he did kill somebody. But he also was really bad. He was not mentally right. And I mean, we say more about it. Like I said, we're not going to touch too much on that. But that is somebody that really suffered from mental illness and never got help. Never got help. Whether you take your own life or you take somebody else's, he never got the help that he needed. So, going back to what I say about Nolan Patrick, I mean, another one I believe, I'm not going to say I believe, he was never big on the media. I like Jake Voracek. He needed a fresh start, though. They moved on from him because of the fact of the injuries got to him. He just couldn't, and it was a great move. Obviously, because I'm a big Flyers guy, we all know that. But kind of the touch on it because I'm doing pregame for the Flyers tonight. So we this has been great. This has been great. I let a lot out. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I can see. I saw some good facial reactions with you guys. I saw you a couple of times. All right. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I mean, Ernie, we talked about doing the show. I was going to start this show right before Ernie's father had passed away. We were getting ready to start this show. I wish I would have knew that you could. I mean, you and I could have done it. We could have done that show, and maybe that's something that we could do in the future. Just like an audio, and maybe a live show every now and then to really talk about certain things. I think we should really think about that. Like CV after dark. You know what I mean? Like really get down to the nitty gritty of it. Derek, thank you, my brother. Thanks to these guys here for having me. But yeah, this has been amazing. I was really looking forward to this. I'm glad I got to talk to you a little bit earlier. I'm happy as can be for you for your journey. My journey keeps continuing. I'm going to keep doing the best that I can. I know I got someone to call on with both yous and maybe Chris. if he's not being a douche. Yeah, I love Chris so much. I break his ball. I've known him very longer than actually both of his. That's why I say that. Shit, he's back. But nah, come on. I was always saying good stuff. But yeah, this has been amazing. I mean, it means a lot to me. I let it out, and I'm not afraid to let it out. And I was the raw emotion behind it. People knew what they probably felt what I've been through in a short period of time. It's real. And shit, man, you can put my number up there if you want. Anybody that can call me anytime. I'm always willing to talk to people. It's what I do. Don't let that dude leave that. Well, you know, I'm a journalist for the Flyers, pal. I gotta remember me call him. You know, if he wants to talk, give him not my number, please. Nah, kidding. I didn't say you were ignorant about it. I said you were uneducated. Okay, ignorant is such a negative word. And listen, you're taking it too far. You were focused on the Ben Simmons and the money of it, and that he used that. That's your opinion. That's okay. That's fine. You can have that opinion. We were talking about more or less the topic. We talked about the Ben Simmons thing, but like now you're starting to kind of take it now. Don't let that dude leave. Like, what is that? Like, you want to keep talking? Then 205-626-8103. You can call me. And if you want the address, I'll be more than happy to give that to you too. I ain't far. So that's you know, that I appreciate you guys having me on. It means a lot. You guys, I know I love you guys more than anything.
I mean, look, but I'm not debating anything with you. I'm not debating the life I lived.
This isn't a debate. Yeah, we're not debating about like what.
Yeah,
it's not.
I live this life every day, but there's nothing to debate for me. So
yeah,
that's all right. If you want to have a debate, and the fact that
how do you debate mental illness anyway?
Yeah,
I'm worse than you. You're doing good. You happy man? Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean,
we can talk about this because we went through it.
Oh my god. Oh, the inappropriateness that just went on.
Not us. Not us.
No, I'm just talking. No, I know, and I think the miscommunication is.
Yeah, I use humor with a lot of my stuff. You guys know that I do, and that's one of my big things. But it's also true. There's no debate in this. You can't debate a diagnosis. Well, like, come on, what are you, Sebastian Maniscalco? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I might have to get off. I'm getting on board.
Yeah, there's no debate in this. Like, I lived it every day. Like, you're not going to tell me what I've lived and what I've experienced. Like, you either understand it at this point after we discussed it with you, or you don't. And there's nothing else I could say to you after 57 minutes of me talking, Frankie talking, giving you a very in-depth discussion on what it is. If you don't get it at this point, right, well, you ain't getting it. So, right.
And I
is what it is.
And I think people are taking, like, the people who are disagreeing are taking it. They're taking. Well, I didn't know that. There's, yes, and that's what it is. I think the view is misconstrued. Like, there's clearly the communication. It's not there. Like, everyone has their opinions. Your opinion isn't wrong. That's why it's your opinion. If you think Ben Simmons is faking it, you're not the only one. Like, there's a lot of people who think he's faking it. That you don't hear a lot of the NBA players speaking out on Ben Simmons' behalf.
Because you can't, because you don't know. You have to just respect it. Exactly. Yes.
Correct. We don't talk. Mental illness is something that we, as a society, it's not talked about a lot.
No.
Unless people, like, it's like this whole other world of people that do suffer through it. Because, like, we're this whole clan that try to talk about it and build awareness. Now, and people that don't know about it, well, one, it's not that I would say a great thing, but it's always good to be educated on it, of course. Because you just spread awareness as we're doing. We're spreading a lot of awareness right now. Trying to spread awareness for that guy, but I ain't working. But I mean,
yeah. I mean, listen. This was a good episode.
This is the best work I've ever done.
I think this is something that, going forward, it's something that maybe we can talk about on this network if you and Pat want to do.
We were just talking about that.
Doing your own thing, and me and Eric are fine with it. Like, it's stuff that has to be brought out there. Like, you don't know if it's out, on the podcast world. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm generally new to the podcast world. We did the Facebook Live in 2019. Then obviously COVID shut everything down, and we started doing podcasts during 2020. So I don't know if it's out there. I know there has to be, because there's a podcast for everything else. I know there's a podcast for What is her podcast for? My friend's wife, she has a podcast, because she's recovering, and it's
set me up. I've been looking for a podcast to do stuff with.
It's called How I Met My Sober Mother, and it's they touch on the effects of drinking and depression and what led to it. So so I'm sure there's podcasts up there, but to actually have someone tackle this, we'll get.
I'm sorry, I'm just doing pregame.
No, that's fine. And I think it's good. Obviously the other guy had his comments, but you saw a lot of positive comments where people were like,
you saw a lot of people come out and admit that they have it. You saw, would that be the first time that they've ever said that, or would it be the millionth? People came out tonight. The goal was to spread and to talk about the topic and to talk about a little bit more about it. Eventing, I'm sure, was a part of it. But people also came on this show tonight and said, I have mental illness. It doesn't get any better than that.
Right. So we got that going. Listen, I feel like you guys were great tonight. Comments got a little out of hand. People.
No, they were just good. It's all good. It was good stuff.
Yeah. I don't. What I'm just mean out of hand is I think people were taking it the wrong way. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely. But final thought all the way around. I love the final thought. So, final thought. Flyers going to the Eastern Conference Finals, guys. I'm sticking with it. Claws are going to be back on the Flyers next year.
Please, no. I'm kidding.
Oh, my God.
Did you see my face?
Yes, I did. I'm watching. I see the little box. It got heated.
Oh, Chris, by the way, real quick for final thought before that. My show is a debate show. I want you on there. You and me.
No, you don't.
No holds bar.
So it's funny. I updated my CEV sports info today on my website. Yeah, it's pretty comical.
Come on, the Frank Tank Show. My final thought for Claude Giroux will be at the Flyers next season.
You shouldn't. I don't know why you wouldn't be.
Because he's free agent.
Oh,
guys, great show. Love it. I have to get ready for pregame. I don't ever cut out a show. Dude, thank you so much, guys. This was everything. Let's set something up soon. You guys are rock and roll rock stars. Bada bing, bada boom. Cheese fry, keep being cheesy. Ernie, keep doing your thing. Chris, keep being a jerk off, dude. Love you. See you guys.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's easy to sum it up. We talking about practice.
Because it's about as casual as it gets.
What's the problem now?
All right, so we're back. And have a good night, everyone.
Take care.